So hello, good morning everybody, and really wonderful to have you all here today. So my name is Nicola Day Coyley. Most people know me as Nick. I'm your moderator today for the webinar, which is celebrating innovating women in STEM. So a quick introduction to me. I am the education and events lead for the North of England region for the Engineering Development Trust, which is an education charity. Some of you may have heard of us, and we're on a mission to inspire young people, much like lots of you watching today, to inspire you to pursue STEM careers. And this week, it's an absolute pleasure to be co-hosting these events with GE to celebrate the Girls Get Set programme's 10th birthday milestone. Now, you'll find out a little bit more about GE, but also the Girls Get Set programme shortly. But before we begin, I just want to say on behalf of GE and the EDT, we're absolutely delighted to have you on this session today. We do also want our time together to be as interactive as possible. We've all been doing lots of these virtual events, haven't we, over the last year? So do please interact with us. So do pop your questions in the Q&A function. And for those of you who have only just joined us, you will find that in the side panel. There's a small speech icon. So you can pop your questions in there for our panelists. And then later on, once we've heard from them all, that'll be your opportunity to hopefully have your questions put towards them. Okay. So we are using new technology today. So we're using Teams live events. So just a few tips from us, just to make sure it runs as smoothly as possible, which it should do. But if you find that you are having any technical issues, then please do try closing other applications and then maximizing this event. You can always log out and back into the event if you've got a lag or things are freezing. We do recommend using Chrome or Firefox. They're the best browsers for running this event on. And we do also recommend using a wired internet connection as well. It tends to work better than Wi-Fi, so if you can, then please do. And if all else fails, if you've tried everything, you can always reboot your device entirely and rejoin the session. You can even rewind or skip to the bit that you were last on if you need to. And finally from me, just to let you know that this session will be recorded, but you can remain anonymous throughout as well. Okay. So looking at who's joining us today then for the webinar. So we are extremely lucky. We've got 5 amazing panelists from GE with us today doing our Q&A session. So we've got Nikki Batten, Anshel Goel, Sarah Sarley, Sarah Sargent and Victoria Scotto, all giving us an insight into themselves and their career and then giving us the opportunity to ask questions. Also moderating the session today is myself, and we've got the lovely Marilisa as well from GE, who you'll hear from in just a second. We've also got Hamda from GE, and then Margaret is keeping an eye on the chat for us, feeding through as many questions as she can to ask the panelists later on. So, without further ado, I shall pass you over to Marilisa. She's going to give you some more information about GE and also the Girls Get Set programme.
Thank you so much, Nicola. And hello to everybody. And I just want to echo Nicola's huge welcome to you. My name is Marilisa Vega, and I co-lead GE's Community Investment Program here in the UK and Ireland. So before we delve into the main content of today's session, we just wanted to spend a few minutes introducing you to GE, which is you might know as General Electric. GE is really a truly global company. It's operating in more than 180 countries. And we were founded over 125 years ago by a famous inventor you might have heard of, Thomas Edison. Innovation has really remained at the heart of the company ever since then. So GE is driving the world forward, tackling its biggest challenges, bringing real progress and possibility to every corner of the planet. So we're basically safely delivering people where they need to go, powering homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses, and offering more precise diagnostics and care where patients need it most. So in the UK and Ireland, GE has over 125 years experience, and it employs over 9,000 people across more than 20 sites, distributed all around the country. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been really proud to support the NHS with its COVID response, supplying hospitals around the UK with ventilators, CT scanners, X-ray and ultrasound systems, and just continuing to drive innovation across the UK and Ireland in all of these industries. And that's from GE Renewable Energy testing the world's largest wind turbine called Heliad X in Northumberland, which you'll hear about a little more from Sarah a bit later, to GE Aviation handling the world's largest and most fuel efficient aviation engine, the GE9X in Wales, to GE Healthcare supplying around 2 in 3 NHS hospitals nationwide with medical imaging equipment. So overall, GE plays a vital role in the growth and competitiveness of the region. So as you can see, people with STEM skills are vital to GE's success as a business. But like other companies, we are experiencing skills shortages. So the UK energy sector alone is expected to need 400,000 roles over the next 30 years in order to reach net zero carbon emissions. And to help us address this issue, we believe that companies like GE really need to attract a more diverse group of young people, including more girls. So if you think about it, women make up 47% of the UK's workforce. That's nearly half. But then you go to the engineering arena and that drops dramatically to just 10%. And this is a trend that we see kind of reflected all around the world. So we're also seeing that that career interests all start at school and with the role models we have around us. So how do we get a more diverse mix of people into STEM? Well, we believe that we need to excite as many young people as possible about what it is really like to work in high-tech industries such as aviation, healthcare, power, and renewable energy. So why does diversity in STEM matter so much? Well, we thought this quote kind of summed it up nicely. So diversity drives innovation, diversity makes us adaptable, diversity makes us smarter. A lack of diversity in STEM will lead to fewer discoveries, which means fewer and potentially less viable solutions to humanity's most pressing problems. The people working in STEM professions need to represent the people using STEM products and services. They need to be representative of society as a whole. So, what is GE doing to inspire the next more diverse generation of scientists, technologists, and engineers? Well, the answer is running programs like Girls Get Set, which is 10 years old this year. So that's what we're celebrating here. It's the 10th birthday of our Girls Get Set program. Now, this program was started by 2 female engineers, Kim and Sophie, in 2011. They loved their jobs at GE and they wanted to give more girls the chance to develop a passion for STEM. So the program, Girls Get Set, is run by GE volunteers throughout the academic year. We mentor students, we run dynamic group activities for them, and we provide lots of career talks. And each year kind of culminates in a summer celebration event where we have guest speakers, prizes, all sorts of hands-on activities and experiments. And girls taking part can gain an industrial cadets accreditation, which is also great for your CV. So we're actually now seeing Girls Get Set alumni, students that took part in Girls Get Set when they were in school, that are joining GE. So the person that you've been hearing questions from, Margaret Pang, from our team, she's one of them. So she was in Girls Get Set as a student herself. And you can actually read some Girls Get Set alumni stories on our website. So, and I'll just go back a slide so you can see our website. That's the easy URL, tiny URL / Girls Get Set 10B Day. So, going back ahead. So now we're gonna get to the heart of the event. So we're innovating ourselves today. We're using a presentation style called Pecha Kucha, which is Japanese for chit chat, actually. So normally this involves sharing 20 images for 20 seconds each, but our panelists will share their whistle-stop innovation stories with 10 images. Their slides are pre-timed, and we'll hear from 2 presenters at a time, then we'll break for questions, and then we'll follow up with a panel discussion. So without further ado, I'll hand back to you, Nicola.
Thank you, Marilisa. Okay, so yeah, as Marilisa said, this is the heart of the event now. So we're going to hear from our amazing 5 women. And first, kicking us off today is Nikki. And I'll hand over to you, Nikki.
Thank you so much. An amazing kickoff, Marilisa and Nicola. I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and good morning to everyone. So my name is Nikki. I'm a technical product manager at GE Healthcare. I'm going to talk a bit about myself, what I do, why I love what I do, how I got to where I am today. On the slide here, you can see 2 sets of pictures, books and maths. And these are the things growing up that I really enjoyed. I loved learning maths, geometry in particular, and then I love to read, and I still love to read to this day. And that's what I carried throughout in my career and as I went off to uni. So this is a picture of where I went to uni, Creighton University, where I studied business, but I actually had a focus on information technology, which is the study of how computers help to run businesses and their operations. So while at uni, I thought, you know, if this is something I'm interested in, how can I really validate that this is where I see myself in a career? So I sought out internships, and the first internship that I ever did was with a company called Union Pacific, which is one of the oldest companies, if not the oldest railroad company in America. And in this internship, I rolled out a technology to help run its business operations with the operations called human resources. I thought to myself, wow, I really like this. I want to do it again. I want to apply what I'm learning in school to a real world setting. And I sought out another internship at GE. And this is a picture of me here in my second internship at GE Healthcare, where I was a cybersecurity intern, and I got to learn how we can protect our data from bad actors such as hackers. While at this internship, I had the opportunity to apply for a full-time role, and I was lucky enough to get it. So this is a picture of me graduating uni, and even before graduation, I had the amazing opportunity to accept a full-time position at GE Healthcare post-uni. So after uni, I moved to a city called Milwaukee, which is a city in the Midwestern part of the United States. And this was a pivotal moment for me because I was in my first full-time role. I was in a new city, living on my own, really understanding and learning how to be an adult. And I had a lot of fun really stepping out into the real world. And as I worked at GE my first few years, I worked in a role that was part of a graduate scheme called Digital Technology Leadership Program. And in this picture here, you can see me with my classmates, with our program leader at our graduation. And in this role, I had the opportunity to experience 4 different types of rotations within the IT sector. And one of those roles was product management, which is the role that I'm in today. So if you think of apps like Facebook and Instagram and Google Maps, these are really led by product managers. We work with engineers who do the coding of the software, with UX designers who design how the software looks, And this picture here is one of the first applications that I worked on for our clinicians in our hospitals who use our medical devices within healthcare. If they need to request service, they have a machine that's down and they need to see patients, they can request service here through this application. Now, in my role today, I actually work to support some of our internal teams within our manufacturing space. So if you think of healthcare, you think of, Mary-Lisa mentioned, our CT devices, our ventilators were especially prevalent during COVID and last year. So I built with other teams software applications that help to really ensure that we deliver quality products to our clinicians on time and on schedule and on budget. So that's a bit about what I do, a bit about me, and thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Fantastic to hear about all the amazing opportunities that Nikki had there, particularly the internships, the graduate schemes. All these kinds of opportunities are available to young people right now, so do please look into it. And just a reminder as well, teachers, please do pop the students' questions in the chat for us, ready to ask after we've heard from our next amazing woman, which is Anshel. So I will hand you over to Anshel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anshel Goyal. I'm really excited to share my journey with you. So to begin with, how I started my journey in engineering. I'm from a small town in India where girls and engineering were never really used in the same sentence. But I studied maths and science at school in India and I really enjoyed it. The concepts of physics of flight and the working of the engine were really fascinating to me. That created a spark inside of me. And I found myself to have a one-way ticket to UK to do aerospace engineering in the University of Hertfordshire. Uni provided me an amazing platform to explore various options within the aerospace world. After university, I started working in GE Aviation on an Edison engineering graduate program. The program is only a 2-year course to accelerate your knowledge for aerospace industry, and it is named after the founder of GE, Thomas Edison. During this graduate scheme, I tried 3 different roles to help me decide where I want to take my career. Through this program, I got introduced to the world of 3D printing or additive for metallic parts. It uses computer-aided design software to direct a machine to add layer upon layer in specific geometric shapes, and hence the name additive, which is quite different to the traditional means of manufacturing where you take a block of metal and remove the material from it. I got the opportunity to try and replace some of the components of propeller systems, which are manufactured using casting technique by additive manufacturing. This technology plays a huge role in reducing significant amount of weight and assembly items. And you might think, why do we need to do that? So weight reduction is a massive and one of the oldest problems in aerospace industry, which we are all trying to resolve. Heavier the aircraft, more fuel causes more CO2 emissions, and it is bad for the environment. And also, it means that traveling from one place to another, it can be quite expensive, and not everyone can afford it. So I'm very lucky to be part of engineering, to be an engineer to help solve these futuristic issues. In the last few seconds, you might think that additive is such a futuristic concept, and you might be surprised to know that actually the concept of additive has been in practice for decades. It has been disguised as composites that we use in engineering. Today in aerospace, composites is used in various structures to reduce weight. One of the coolest products made out of composites is propeller for civil and military aircrafts with Dowty propellers, where I currently work as a composites manufacturing engineer. In my role, I help design robust and repeatable process for manufacturing composite parts, solve daily production issues, and lead various process and product improvement projects. Through my time in this role, I have realized composites is so much like additive, just like you add upon layer of metal and bond them together. Composites is very similar. You add a layer of fabric like carbon or glass upon layer and bond them using reinforcement. This combination helps the resultant material to get stronger without adding too much weight, which is ideal for composite structures. In my last 5 years as a professional engineer, I've been extremely lucky, and it has been very eye-opening and fulfilling. I'm so excited where my journey has taken me so far, and I'm quite excited to where it will go next. I know for most of you, engineering can be perceived to be quite a male-dominated environment, but I would like to tell you that engineering is neither male or female. It is whatever you make of it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Anchal. Again, so insightful, hearing also about that graduate scheme that really helped kick things off for you, and also the opportunity to try different roles before you decided exactly what you wanted to go into. We're going to stop there for the presentations now and give our attendees an opportunity to ask some questions. So we've not had any questions come through just yet, so please do now take the time to type your questions into the Q&A box so that we can ask those questions directly to Anchal and to Nikki. But I'll start us off with a nice question for both of you, actually, but maybe perhaps Nikki, if you answer first. So where do you see yourself going in the future? There's so many exciting roles, aren't there? And where do you currently see yourself going in the future?
Yeah. So I would love to, and I'm hearing a little feedback with the audio, so let me adjust. Is this better? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you absolutely fine, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, so as a product manager, I really enjoy what I do. I love working across different types of teams, and I'd love to continue to grow in the space, especially as a leader. So in 5 years, I'd love to see myself as head of a product line, eventually as VP of product or chief product officer. These are the types of careers within my career path that are available, but it takes time, it takes experience, it takes opportunity, and I just love that in the field of STEM, there's an enormous amount of ways to test and try out what you're interested in. That's through apprenticeships, internships. So just starting small and then going from there has really helped me to shape my career path and what I envision myself for future.
Thank you, Nikki. Anchal, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, so I have always been interested in quite technical sort of roles. Saying that, I have also tried a lot of leadership roles so far at the moment, as I'm leading a team of 6 engineers as well. But if I want to think of where I want to go next, I would like to constantly keep challenging my technical capabilities. I come from a very mechanical background, and I have yet to explore so many different areas of engineering. One of the areas that I would like to explore is engines world, which I come from propellers world and composites world, but I would love to explore the engine side of things and eventually move up sort of the ladder in terms of engineering lead. Someone who can make very good decisions in terms of safety of the other people as well. So that's where I see myself going. I always think that the world of engineering and technology changes every minute by minute, and it is one of the exciting things to keep up to it. Even right now, as I'm not extremely great at coding, I keep challenging myself, reading, learning new areas and new skills to keep myself up to the changing world of engineering and technology.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anchal. I just think that it's amazing to hear how many opportunities there are in STEM, and especially working for a global organisation. If you enjoy challenging yourself and you want to progress, and there are so many opportunities for that. So we do actually have a couple of questions, I believe. So Margaret, could we have a question from the audience?
Of course. We have one here for Anchal asking, what is a graduate program?
So a graduate program is when you go to university and you finish your degree, GE offers various sort of pathways to where you want to take your career. There are so many different graduate programs. It depends on what you enjoy doing. If you want to be more technical, then there are graduate programs like Edison engineering graduate programs. If you want to go into more supply chain and operations, there's operations management leadership program. There's finance, similar for IT, digital. and so many more. So these graduate programs help you to accelerate your career. These are not just any graduate programs, they are graduate leadership programs as well. So it helps you become better leaders within the company and personally as well. So these graduate programs are sort of a fast tracking you to grow technically and also become better leaders. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Anchal. Yeah, that was a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. I think we'll take one more question and then we need to move on because we've got some more fantastic people to hear from. So do we have one more question, Margaret?
Yeah, this question says, how do your experiences in STEM impact other areas of your life?
Should we have Nikki answer that one? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, Marilisa read the statistics earlier on. In STEM, there's unfortunately a lower number of women representative in the industry. And as a woman working in the sector of engineering, software engineering, that can be a bit intimidating. It can be a bit intimidating and it could be a bit, I guess, overwhelming. But having had the experience, I've grown from it, and it's challenged me to build my confidence, challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone, challenged me to, think outside of the norm and to not be afraid and be bold in offering my ideas and opinions to the discussion, because they may be different from, the average or groupthink opinion in the group. So it's really helped me personally to build, working in this sector, to build my confidence, to be bold, and to take risks and step outside of my comfort zone.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Yeah, so great to hear, all of this inspiring talk from these young women. Moving on now to hearing from more inspirational women. So our next presentation is from Sarah Sarli. So Sarah, I will hand over to you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me well?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Sarah, I'm French and I'm currently living in London in the UK where I work for Gdigital. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit of overview of my professional career so it can give you some ideas of what you can do after your studies. So my interest for STEM dates back to when I was in high school. I liked mathematics and physics a lot. These were my favorite topics at school, and I wanted to pursue a career in science. That's how I came across engineering. I was told there were not a lot of girls who become engineer, but I was really passionate by this subject, so I decided to study engineering. So I joined an electrical engineering school in France called Supélec. And I also did an exchange program with the University of Cambridge in the UK, where I got a master's in energy technologies. Thanks to my studies, I had a good technical knowledge, but I also wanted to develop my commercial skills, which is important on the job market. So that's how I decided to join the Commercial Leadership Program. It's a graduate program in the commercial function at GE. Having an engineering background was a requirement to join this program because at GE, you need to understand the high-tech product in order to be able to sell them. So the CLP was a great experience for me. I tried different jobs, traveled around the world, and met people from various backgrounds. During this program, I also discovered the importance of building your professional network. It's made of people that you stay in contact with throughout your career, who can provide you with career advice and help you change jobs when you wish so. After the program, I decided to have an international experience. So I moved to London in the UK to work as a customer success manager, looking after the success and the satisfaction of customers of Gdigital across Europe. Gdigital is the software division of General Electric. We develop the software that equips factories for the production of finished goods, such as cars, jet engines, medicine, food and beverage, etc. Today, I'm working as a channel sales manager at Gdigital. My job consists in managing and supporting the resellers of GE Digital in France, Belgium, and the Balkans. Resellers are companies that sell our solution to their customers in specific territories. My job has three main components: strategy, commercial, and marketing. I work with the resellers to define the commercial strategy for the year in order to make the sales objective. I also support the resellers on a commercial basis with the proposals, pricing, etc. And I also work on the marketing events for the year of GE Digital. I organize the webinars, the conferences, and so on. So to summarize, studying engineering gives you a lot of opportunities. Not only you can become an engineer, but you can also work as a commercial, as a sales manager, where engineering degree is a plus. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And isn't it wonderful to hear how the opportunities are there to work globally for an organisation in the STEM industry? Okay, moving on now to Sarah Sargent. Sarah, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you. So I'm the Global Planning Leader for GE Offshore Wind in the renewables business. So this is my first love, horses and animals. When I was going through school, I loved the sciences and I loved competing my horses. So it seems only right that I go to university to study a degree in equine and animal science. However, I didn't think much further than that. When I finished uni, I took a job as an animal health officer. Then I realised that financially it would never fund my hobbies. My father was an engineer, so he got me a temporary job in an admin role where he worked while I thought about what I was going to do next. I started working closely with a project planner and I found his role really interesting. So I convinced the company to give me a chance as a junior planner, and I've never looked back. Every project requires detailed planning, which means that every activity, person, tool required to execute the project needs to be accurately planned and monitored. It also allows us to not only plan the work, but to measure the progress, recalculate resource requirements, and record the costs incurred as the project is performed. So we can make sure that our projects are on track to complete on time and on budget. My career began at an oil and gas company in Aberdeen called Vetco Gray, which was subsequently bought by GE Oil and Gas. My first role was to plan the engineering of the production of the subsea Christmas trees to ensure they were delivered to customers in a timely manner. Christmas tree is basically a big valve that sits on the seabed and controls the flow of oil. After this role, I moved into being an EPC project planner, where I was responsible for planning the engineering, procurement, and construction of larger oil and gas projects, including Christmas trees, manifolds, flow lines, and associated controls equipment. After 13 years of working in oil and gas industry and working my way up to be a lead planner on several multi-billion-dollar projects, I received a call from a previous manager asking me if I was interested in moving to GE Renewables to lead the planning department in offshore wind. As we're all becoming much more environmentally aware, I was delighted to have the opportunity to produce energy in a cleaner way, so I jumped at the chance. The first project I've worked on since being in this role is a wind farm off the coast of France. This will be installed with 80 of our Haliade 150 wind turbines in 2022. Our business is relatively new in comparison to other energy businesses. However, we're constantly developing new technologies to improve the efficiency and lower the cost of renewable energy to stay ahead of our competitors. Our Haliade X 13 megawatt is the newest wind turbine we've developed and is the largest offshore wind turbine in the world. One rotation of the Haliade X can power a UK household for more than 2 days. The Haliade X will be installed in the Dogger Bank wind farm off the coast of the UK in 3 different phases, beginning in 2022 and completing in 2026. We're also currently designing a 14 megawatt Haliade X turbine, which will be installed in the 3rd phase of the Dogger Bank wind farm. And an even larger turbine is currently being engineered for production after 2025. So where are we going globally? We have 2 contracts for wind farms in the US currently, and we're bidding for more. We also have formed a strategic partnership with Toshiba for manufacturing in Japan, which we hope will increase the competitiveness of us in our Asian markets. Our offshore wind business is growing really quickly, and personally, I feel that it's a really exciting time to be involved in such an innovative industry. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sarah. And isn't it wonderful to hear how much Sarah's career has grown from just a small spark that started when she was in an admin role in her dad's office. I love that. Okay, so we're going to pause there for questions again, and we do have a few, Margaret, don't we?
Yeah, one question we have is asking, what are the social aspects of your job, and do you travel for work much?
Shall we start with Sarah Sargent for that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I travel a lot for work. So I'm the global leader, so obviously everything, the planning of all projects in our business around the world come under me. So I actually work from home whilst I'm in the UK, but I spend an awful lot of time traveling to France, Barcelona, where our engineering hub is, and then wherever our projects are. So for example, the north of England, Boston in the US, probably going forward to Asia in the future as we win projects there. So there's an awful lot of traveling, which is great because you get to meet an awful lot of different people, and different cultures, and different places. You get to see the world. There's also, I suppose, the other side of it, whereas you're away from home a lot of the time. So I think being women, if we've got families and things like that, it's difficult to be away from your family. But I think especially working for a company like GE, there's a real work-life balance culture, and I think GE are very keen on people having a good working environment and a good life balance after that. So spending time with your families and doing things outside of work as well. So I travel a lot, and it's really good.
It sounds really good. Thank you, Sarah. Margaret, do we have another question that perhaps we could ask Sarah Sarli?
Of course. One question we've got is, what's the most challenging part of being a female in a STEM role?
Yes, so the challenging part is that, as we mentioned earlier, there are very few women that work in a STEM role. So even when you work, for example, now I work in a commercial role, but in an industrial company such as GE, you see that you are surrounded by a lot of men. So sometimes it's difficult to make your place and to get your voice heard because of the diversity. But little by little, you make your place, and you need to prove yourself by delivering results, and that's how people start to respect you as an individual and as a woman as well.
Thank you, Sarah. We have had another question come in. I think this is probably a good one for Sarah Sargent about GCSEs. Do we have that question, Margaret?
Yeah, the question is, what GCSEs do you need for this line of work?
Okay, so as you probably got from my presentation, I suppose fell into my current job, or my initial job, and worked my way up. So for me, I think that obviously I'm a people leader now. I am employing people all the time to come and work under me. What I like to see is those kind of science, maths kind of GCSEs as well, but not limited to that. So obviously there's an awful lot of talking with different nationalities and different in a global role. So your English needs to be really good. You're making a lot of presentations all of the time, so the standard English, math, sciences are obviously really up there. But I think then going on from kind of GCSEs, I would expect to see somebody going into this kind of role to be doing your A levels, for example, in those kind of roles as well. So definitely maths and science is what I'd be looking for.
Thank you, Sarah. And Margaret, do we have any other questions to ask before we move on to our final presentation?
Yeah, we have another one for Sarah about working in the renewable energy industry. What are the opportunities you see for young students to get involved and pursue in the coming years, and how can they get involved to learn more?
So, I mean, obviously, days like today and the week that you've got coming up is obviously really key to get the information on, how you can kind of move into that kind of role and get the links to different businesses like this. However, you know, I think renewable energy is obviously huge, and you know, we're talking kind of UK at the moment, but globally. So within the UK, you know, there's been an awful lot of government investment within renewable energy, particularly offshore wind. So we are seeing a huge rise in the number of projects that are being bid, that are being approved. So there are going to be an awful lot of jobs, I think, in renewable energy in the UK and obviously globally going forward. So I think that it's really key for, you know, students to kind of come on these kind of days to, you know, to kind of move on to come into these weeks and try and you know, really kind of get to grips with the links that are actually being passed on to you all, and to move on from there. So I think that there's you know, and also the leadership programs that we've been talked about earlier. So the graduate programs and things like that are a great way to get into a business and find your feet in whichever area that you really want to be working in. Sorry for stumbling in the middle.
Thank you, Sarah. And again, just reiterating how many, you know, as Marilisa said at the start, how many amazing new jobs are being created for young people in the future. And now is such a good time to really think about your STEM subjects and look into, you know, where that can take you in the future. Okay, so moving on now to our final inspiring woman of the day, which is Victoria. So Victoria, over to you.
Thank you. So this is me, Victoria, when I was 18, and I actually decided to become an engineer when I was 12. And that was kind of unexpected decision in my family, as no one was working in science nor in the industry. But at the time, my mother told me, you are capable, just work for it and you will succeed. So this is my message for you ladies today. You are so capable, and your journey will open doors you would have never imagined. So I graduated as applied mathematics engineers, and I have a second degree in mechanics so that I can actually understand what I calculate. So my first job was very logically mechanical calculation engineer working for GE Power. So working for the field of power plants, and I am assessing the mechanical integrity of one of the main components, which is the generator. This is the one that actually produces the electricity. And it is super satisfying to be part of this, can I say, technical miracle that when you push a button, there is actually light coming from the ceiling. And another satisfaction is that I am specialized in nuclear power plant, which is a CO2-free source of energy, which is, well, good for the planet, as you know. And then, well, it became more and more fun. I specialized in generator failures, and I have traveled the world to find the root causes of the incidents. So sometimes it was super beautiful, like in a Coburg power plant in Cape Town, South Africa, that you will see on the next picture. And sometimes, well, there was a bit less comfort, but it was always like this, like in the middle with tons of equipments to make my testing, and always full of adventure. So I was feeling like a Sherlock Holmes. I mean, I was investigating, testing, defining repair solutions, convincing the customer, and always helped by a great GE team. And you cannot imagine how proud you can feel when a unit can restart after a failure, and when it brings electricity again to the population. At the age of 29, I became an engineering team leader, and I now manage a worldwide group of electrical engineers. We are involved in many power plant projects, many in the UK as Hinkley Point C, as you can see on the picture, one that you know well, I believe. And we are here designing the biggest and most powerful generator in the world, so world record for UK. But why having only one technical career? So 6 years ago, in addition to my role in GE, I created my own company of escape room and playful technologies. I'm a self-learner and I've become an expert in electronics, Internet of Things, 3D printing, really as a hobby. And I created, for instance, a talking hat that is used in interactive museums. And why not a third career? Some weeks ago, I won an innovation contest with young ladies to who I was promoting STEM. And we invented a sensory communication cocoon that facilitates interaction with your beloved one that are isolated in medical centers. So we are building our startup where high tech serves solidarity. And so this is me now, Victoria. I'm 36, and as you can see, I am working from home with the COVID, and I have a personal assistant. So this is my fourth career, actually, being the happy mom of 2 young boys. And I'm so grateful to my families, to GE, and to science, because I'm having a really fun and fascinating life. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Victoria, and absolutely smashing any misconceptions there that STEM is boring. Far from it, a life full of adventure, and absolutely love that. So thank you. Okay, well, it's been so good to hear from everyone on the panel today. Let's have a look, Margaret, if we've got any questions for Victoria.
Yeah, we have one question here asking, in your experience, is there a gender gap in pay in these STEM careers?
Okay, so as you can hear, I am in France, so the numbers I have are valid for France. I do not have the numbers for UK. The fact is that yes, there is, but it's not limited to STEM. It is generally speaking in any jobs, and the tendency is that it is reducing. And I can tell you that GE is putting a lot of effort to reduce that gap with success.
Excellent, that's very good to hear. Brilliant, really good question there as well. So we're going to move on, well, not move on, but sort of finish in these last 10 minutes with any questions for any of the members of our panel today. So Margaret, do we have more questions?
We do. So this question is for Anchal from Kate, who's interested in pursuing a career in aerospace. She's curious if your career in aviation is always changing and involves trying new things and experimenting, since aerospace is always about improving.
That's a very good question. So far, I've seen 2 types of people basically in my career. One is they know what they want to do, and they kind of mold their career into what they actually want to do, and they pursue it. And then the other type is they have a little bit of an idea, like I had, that I want to become an aerospace engineer, but actually pinpointing into exactly what I want to do has taken me a bit of time, and it is still, and I'm still exploring at the moment. So there are GE and the graduate opportunities, or whatever you want to do, there is a room for both of them, basically. If you know exactly that you want to go into a specific field, you can do that. And if you want to have the opportunity to explore, graduate schemes are great because you keep moving your rotations from after every 8 months. So you get to try something new every time. And even that is not, even after the graduate program, you have so many open opportunities to grow. You network with so many different people. And if you want to explore some different part of the business, you can just speak to people, and people are really helpful to and really open for you to expand your knowledge in different areas as well.
Thank you, Anchal. Again, just showing us all the amazing opportunities and how broad these opportunities are in STEM and in a global organisation like GE. So wonderful for all of our students to hear about that today. I believe we've got a great question for Victoria, Margaret.
Yes, the question is, how do you cope with travel when having a family?
Yes, this is a good one. So I will not say this is easy. You need to get organized. And in my family, I'm supported by a husband, by grandparents as well. And this is clear that there are moments for my work for GE, for moments for my career, and then there are moments for my family and for my kids. So they are all aware of that. When I'm for GE, I'm 100% for GE. When I'm working with my family, having fun with my family, I'm 100% with them. So this is the priority in organizing, and it works well.
Thank you. I think that's good advice for anyone with a family. I'll be taking that on board myself. Thank you, Victoria. Any other questions, Margaret?
Yeah, we have another one here about traveling. So do the company accommodate for travel, or do you have to do this independently?
Okay, so quite a lot of our women on our panel today do quite a lot of travelling in their role. I'm just trying to think who the best person to answer that question might be. How about Sarah Sarley?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, in my commercial role, I do a lot of traveling as part of my job. So I meet with partners, with customers, more in France and Belgium, more particularly because of my assigned territory. And the company accommodate for this. Yeah, this is part of the job. They accommodate for the traveling, for the transportation, for the hotel accommodation there when you need to visit customers. So this is part of what the company offers.
Thank you. And I believe we have a question on animals for Sarah Sargent as well.
We do. The question is, are there any jobs where engineering and animals overlap?
Oh, not that I've found, but if somebody finds one, let me know. If anyone else can tell us, I don't know, but I haven't found one yet. But as I say, I'd love it.
I wonder if anyone else knows of a job where engineering and animals overlap. No, everyone's shaking their heads.
Like staying in renewables.
Okie dokie. Shall we move on to the next question, Margaret?
Yeah, we have a question here saying, what surprised you most about your careers in STEM so far, and anything you would do differently?
Okay, I'm just thinking who hasn't answered a question for a while. How about Nikki?
Yeah. So I would say there are two things that have surprised me about working in STEM. The first is the opportunities and the doors that have been opened to me through working in this sector. There are just so many things like meeting colleagues globally, working on new technologies that I've maybe read about in the news, but are starting to apply, especially in the space of healthcare, such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. These are things that I probably wouldn't have maybe been forthright in coming across had I not been exposed to it through working in a field such as engineering. And the second thing, in addition to opportunities, is just the types of people that I meet across different disciplines in engineering. So engineering isn't just one field. There's so many fields. You've heard from the panelists today. I work specifically in software engineering, but there's electrical engineering, there's aerospace engineering. So meeting the different types of people across different disciplines has been amazing. And it's surprised me to come across just what others are working on, even hearing from the panelists today, all the cool things that they're working on, their disciplines, their backgrounds. So that's been really amazing working in STEM. And also the people that I've met globally in my role. I'm originally from the US, if you can tell by my accent, but I've moved here to the UK and I've met many great colleagues in Europe, Asia, South America, within the US. And that's something I think I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to do had it not been working in such a diverse sector, such as engineering.
Thank you so much, Nikki. And I believe we've had a question come in about aerospace for Anshul. Is that right, Margaret?
Yeah. The question is, how likely are you to find an aerospace job?
How likely would I define an aerospace job?
Yep.
I think
had this question.
I think it was more like what's the likelihood of finding a job in the aerospace industry?
Okay, cool. So the subjects that I did in my university after my A-levels, Indian A-levels, which I did maths, chemistry and physics, the subjects that I did in my university was very much related to design, aerodynamics, propulsion, a lot of different simulation softwares, like how likely a structure would break. And these are quite not always aerospace specific. You can always transfer your skills from aerospace to even different fields, like electrical as well. If you want to become a systems engineer as well, you can do so many things with that. So, and with aerospace jobs, yes, you can easily find jobs in more space industry, aircraft industry like GE as well. But at the same time, you can also have seen aerospace jobs even opened up for many other sectors like renewables. The skills are easily transferable, like power as well, because in aerospace you study different like turbine, about turbine and engines. You can use the same sort of study to generate electricity in terms of renewables as well, and power as well. So I think the skills are always transferable. You can go into aerospace specific, and you can also go into different areas as well. I just loved the plane, so that's why I wanted to go down to the aerospace route. But doing any sort of other degrees like mechanical or systems engineering would also get you there.
Thank you so much, Anshul. I think, we can definitely hear there that there are plenty of job opportunities, and hearing about transferable skills within STEM, it's something that I hear all the time from STEM professionals, that you can follow one path, but your skills are so transferable if you want to veer off in a different direction and try something new, which is another amazing benefit of going into STEM.
One thing I would definitely like to add is an engineering degree. One of the key skills you will learn is how to learn. You can be put into any other areas because you've learned how to learn in your university. You can mold yourself into any kind of job role, technical, non-technical, any field of engineering as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anshul. We've got time for one more question, Margaret, before we have to wrap up, sadly.
Yeah, we have a question here that says, have you always wanted an engineering job?
That's a good question. Perhaps all of our panelists could give a very short answer to that, if that's okay. Shall we start with Victoria?
That's a yes. I've always wanted since I was 12, so I knew. But
Thank
actually,
you,
I didn't know how wide the careers could be behind. So it's even better than expected.
Thank you. Sarah Sarli.
Yes, I was always interested in engineering, but I wanted to do commercial at the same time. So now I have a job that combines both technical and commercial skills.
Brilliant. And Sarah Sargent?
No, surprisingly. However, I was always very interested in it. I spent my childhood with my dad, taking cars apart and putting them back together again. So I was never a girly girl. I was never, as some people would say, I was always interested in that kind of technical side of it, but it wasn't something that going through school, I thought that's what I'm going to do. So, but if I wish I'd gone back now and done an engineering degree, but there we are.
It sounds like you're doing absolutely fine without it, and doing some amazing things. And how about Nikki?
Yeah, I sort of stumbled into the space of engineering. I think growing up, I wasn't as aware. We didn't have amazing programs like this to bring about that awareness in the community, and the classes offered at my school were more geared towards just the traditional sciences, maths, so on and so forth. But looking back, I would have probably concentrated more on a specific engineering degree, but lucky to have stumbled upon it in my career path, and happy to reach out to others in the community, to especially those within school, to make them aware of all the amazing opportunities that this field has to offer.
Absolutely, thank you, Nikki. And Anshul, do you want to finish off this question for us?
Sure. I think I've always been in a sort of a turmoil between my heart and my brain. I was not a brilliant student in school. I always struggle with marks. The reason I wanted to become an engineer is because I just liked solving problems. I was not very theoretically minded. I just liked being hands-on and getting my hands dirty. Many people convinced me that engineering is not for me because I'm a female and I should be looking for other opportunities, which is more female related. But I think I took that as a challenge because I didn't believe that is true. And I was sure that I don't care what my mark sheet tells me. It's my curiosity is going to take me wherever it has to take me. And if I want to learn more about the engines, I'm just going to have to do it.
Absolutely, good ambition, perhaps a bit of stubbornness that's paid off well for you there, Anshul. Thank you so much to all of you. It's so insightful, and just, you know, what a great opportunity for us to hear all of that fantastic advice from you all as well. I'm just going to hand over to Margaret now to wrap things up for us. She is our expert about Girls Get Set. So Margaret, over to you.
Thanks, Nicola. So we did have one question come up that says, what would you say to our audience students about how your Girls Get Set experience has helped you in our careers today? And that is an absolutely fabulous question that will be answered definitely at our next panel on Wednesday, which is a panel of Girls Get Set alumni, of students that took part in the Girls Get Set program and are now working in STEM. So please do join us for that session where we'll be talking a lot more about Girls Get Set, what kind of activities have been done in that program, and kind of the variety of careers that students that have taken part in the scheme have now come to do. So thank you very much everyone for joining us today. On the screen you can see information a bit more about the Girls Get Set program, the amazing impact it's done, and all the amazing people that have been involved with the Girls Get Set program in the last 10 years. They have done an amazing job of inspiring students, something that I can definitely testify to as I took part in the Girls Get Set scheme. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today.
Yes, thank you. I'll echo what Margaret has said. I've really enjoyed it. I hope everyone who's watching has enjoyed it as well. Don't forget about those other events. We've got one on Wednesday and we've also got another event on Thursday. So if you can join us for those, that would be fantastic. And from all of us, thank you. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.